What's up? We're back again. Episode, what is it, 13 or 14? I can't remember.
Yep.
Yeah, one of those.
Time flies when you're having fun, Frank.
13 or 14. It's one of those. We are the TRIF3CTA Sports Podcast. Thank you guys for tuning in, watching, listening, whatever you chose to do today. My name is Frank Spencer. If you don't already know, I'm here with David Hayes and Jacob Connor, also known as Coop. Today's show, we're going to kick it off with a few quick mentions of some sports things going on around the world. We have some pretty heavy hitters with the PGA Tour versus the Live Golf Tour, or the Saudi Golf Tour. Some pretty big names are up and making the jump and getting paid. So we're going to talk about some PGA Tour golf there. And then college baseball regionals are nearing the end. So we got a lot of information on that. The NBA Finals, the Boston Celtics and the Golden State Warriors are currently playing. Don't know the score. We'll keep you updated on that. Not that it matters that we tell you the score right now, because you're going to watch us like 3 or 4 days later. So we have that going on for us. NHL Conference Finals, New York Rangers and the Tampa Bay Lightning on the East, with the Colorado Avalanche and the Edmonton Oilers out west. Then we're going to talk about the match, one of the premier television events that's happened in the last calendar year. We have 4 outstanding quarterbacks take it to the links and battle it out. It was very interesting television, I will say that. And then at the end of the show, so stick around, we're going to wrap up the show. We're going to collectively determine, as a group, we're going to argue about it. There's going to be some agreements and disagreements. We are going to rank the top 5 quarterbacks in the NFL today. Now, we're going to have to talk about some stipulations there. Are we talking about quarterbacks on a roster or quarterbacks that are going to actually get to play? So we'll keep that in mind when we get to that point. So, Coop, kick us off there with some of our top 3 quick mentions.
Yeah, so Special Olympics for the U.S. kicked off today. 5,500 athletes, I believe, representing every state. They're in Orlando, Florida for the next 7 days. They had their opening ceremonies today on ESPN. Some big names performing. Great to see that on national television, recognize those athletes. And don't have a broadcast schedule, but definitely recommend you guys, check in, see what you can find out, and make sure that we're supporting those athletes. Then Rafael Nadal won his 14th French Open, 14-0 now in title matches in the French Open in his career. Dave highlighted before the show that he openly admitted to getting an injection in his ankle, foot, I believe, so that he could finish the match. Said that by the end of the match, he couldn't even feel his foot. So maybe some foul play there. We don't know. Either way, unquestionably, probably the greatest male tennis player on clay. Then the big news out of the NFL, Desean Watson is now facing 2 more cases, sexual assault cases. And in an interview this week, his lawyer came out publicly and said that happy endings are not against the law unless you pay extra for them. And in addition to that, making people feel uncomfortable is not against the law. Not saying that is an admission of guilt, because none of these are technically criminal charges yet, but it doesn't make you feel better if you were hoping to believe in Desean Watson again. A really bad look, in my opinion, and it really looks like he's going to play this season. So disappointing.
Yeah, that's not something I would really come out openly and say if I was the legal counsel of a high-profile athlete. I don't know if Desean Watson would appreciate that either, but here we are. So,
yeah, the one thing I've thought was interesting, Myles Garrett had a media day, and I think he nailed it on the head of sitting on the fence, because he's the face of the franchise, and everybody's like, "What is Desean Watson like?" And he's like, I wasn't in the room with those people. They're the only ones that know what happened. I can only judge the man on what I see every day going on forth, and he's been a pretty good guy for the most part, or I think he said for all he's seen. And I think that just it racks my brain on why the Cleveland Browns decided to go through with this trade. The amount of baggage that came with this, the amount of pressure you're going to put on the other guys in the locker room to pick up this guy's slack because everybody's got him underneath the microscope. It just, I mean, I know the Cleveland Browns are a polarizing franchise, but now that you have Myles Garrett having to answer about Deshaun Watson's baggage, I think it's just I can't wrap my brain around it.
Yeah, the thing that jumps out to me the most is that he's now in the history books of the NFL for the most guaranteed money ever. He has more guaranteed money on his contract than any NFL player who has ever signed a contract. And it didn't happen until after we knew that these cases existed. So I agree 100%. Either way, if he did absolutely nothing wrong, if every one of these cases is false, not saying they are, but even in that scenario, he should not be receiving the contract that he did.
No, it just glorifies things like that, and you're going to see it pop up more often. And we've talked about this in past shows. It's just going to keep happening because the players know there's no serious repercussions. And like in an everyday job, like if you're a teacher or a physician of some sort, or working in a public entity or a government official, well, not government official, but joke. But most of the time, these things happen. You get let go from your job. You get terminated. You have to find something else to do. But for some reason, professional athletes get the benefit of the doubt when it comes to these types of things. And I'm all for innocent until proven guilty. I know the whole world was watching Johnny Depp, take care of his business on TV. I mean, why that's televised, who knows? That's the dumbest shit I've ever seen in my life. But
I'm not going to lie, I watched a significant amount of that.
People were invested.
I followed
I did
every day.
If it was on Twitter, I saw it. But like other than that, not one time did I turn that shit on and
live
watch
stream
TV.
during the workday. I'm sending out order status reports. I'm hearing testimony at the same time.
Absolutely not.
You didn't drive over to the courthouse and go watch?
Hey, we were close. We didn't realize how close we were, but yeah.
That's the dumbest thing I've ever seen in my life. Yeah. Why that was a big deal? It's like I don't know. That's the dumbest thing. I can't even get over how stupid it is that it's even on TV. I'm lost for words now. I've tore all pieces. But yeah, until something happens, like when something like this happens to a professional athlete of some sort, especially a high profile one like Desean Watson, we saw it happen with Ray Rice. Although that's a different situation. It happened one time that was caught on camera. But he never played football again. Like, people's career just fades, but this guy's just going to hang around. He's getting paid like a bag of money still, and he may not even play.
Yeah, that's where I have issues with it is, Ray Rice, he got double jeopardy there. What he did was wrong. The video was incriminating as hell, and he didn't deserve to play football again. But it's just the lack of consistency by the league it's just disappointing. And that's where I just go back. What are the Browns doing? Because now they're in limbo with Baker Mayfield, and nobody will buy him because they know he's not worth anything at this point to the Browns. So I would just love to just pick the brain of a NFL GM or owner and be like, what the hell is going on? Or you just got elevator music going up on there?
It's just $20 million. That's all we're paying Baker to do nothing.
Change. That's like 97 of my houses.
Yeah, I mean,
but anyway,
it's crazy.
Quick update on some interesting things going on. for the Special Olympics, I would assume that there are some social media outlets out there that would have some type of coverage for a number of those events. So I'm going to get on that and try to look that up, and I may share that out at some point in time. So keep an eye out for that. So one of the bigger topics on today's episode would be golf. And I spent the last 2 days in Jasper, Indiana. Just in case you guys were wondering, no disrespect to Jasper, Indiana, but about the only thing they got going for them is a really, really nice golf course and a German restaurant that we ate at twice. So it was really good. I'm not gonna lie. But that's about it. Special. That's about it for Jasper, Indiana. Quick shout out to a buddy of mine. We, a bachelor party, so went up there and played golf. Your boy shot a 101 2 days in a row. Hold the applause. Been playing golf for about 2 years, honestly, and that's a course I've never played before. So I'm pretty happy with a 101. About broke 100. Breaking 100's hard sometimes. I did not finish last in my group. I will say that. I beat like 3 other people. So I finished like 6 out of 8. Ain't bad. But apart from my professional golf career, which is non-existent, there are professional golfers in the world who are getting paid a lot of money. I mean, a lot of money, like more than their career earnings on the PGA Tour to quote unquote jump ship to the Saudi Golf Tour or the Live Golf Tour. We have the major headliner. We're going to talk about some other names that have come up that are have already been, I guess, headlining the first event in this golf tour. Don't know much about the event. I'm going to look it up here in a second and try to give you guys an update on it. But the big name is Dustin Johnson, major winner, pretty much the face of golf. He was number 1 player in the world for a long time. I think he lost it to John Rahm here last year, and now current number 1 is Scotty Scheffler. But he's one of the top golfers in the entire world in terms of money made, total wins. He's the face of TaylorMade Golf, other than Tiger Woods. Everybody knows who Dustin Johnson is if you know golf. Him jumping ship to the LIV Golf Tour is a big deal. I've seen some interviews here lately that people are talking about. The PGA Tour is making a big deal about people picking sides. Like you're either with us or they're without us. When in all reality, a lot of these golfers just want the freedom to do whatever they want. Like they're like independent contractors. They should be able to go wherever they please and play wherever they please. And quite frankly, they do anyway. But the PGA Tour itself has monopolized pretty much all of professional golf. That's major high level. There's the Korn Ferry Tour. There's the Web.com Tour. Oh, that's the Korn Ferry Tour. But you have mini tours. You have the Champions Tour, then the European Tour. There's other tours that aren't really highly known that I don't really know. I know there's one in, I think there's an Asian Tour as well. So those things are happening in the PGA Tour, but now there's a competitor. And you're seeing a lot of high-touted names kind of moving their way over there. And the reason they're moving is that cash money. So here's a stat. I don't know which one of you two, I'm assuming this was Coop that found this stat. But
yes,
Dustin Johnson, shout out to Coop for the stat. His career PGA earnings is right at $74 million, which is very, very good. I think anybody would respect $74 million in career winnings on a PGA Tour. But the LIV Golf Tour is reportedly paying him $125 million to join. I'm assuming he's going to be the headliner. He's going to be the big dog. He's going to be the one that people are going to show up to watch play.
Yeah. So, and real quick on that, that's the
ahead.
low end. I've seen reports that say 150 also. So,
I can totally see that
there's
as well.
Some variability there, but insane amount of money.
And I guess the schedule of events, right now there's 8 scheduled events. There's 48 player field, which is way lower than what a PGA Tour would start with. I think the cut is like the top 50 in ties or top 60 in ties or something like that. And then last place for the first event. So you go there, you shoot 101, you win $120,000.
Yep.
That's a good day's of work, Frank. Good
Hey, holla at your boy. LIV, I'm in. So quick reaction. I know there's some other big names that we're going to talk about here in a minute that some of you may know or may not know. If you're a golf fan, you're going to know who these guys are. But what do you think the ripple effect of Dustin Johnson making the jump to the LIV golf field?
Yeah, so I think now that we've heard it and we've seen it, everybody knows DJ just married Wayne Gretzky's daughter. I guarantee it. Wayne Gretzky told him, "Hey, buddy, your life as an athlete is going to be, relatively short. Go make your money." Wayne Gretzky was famously traded from the Edmonton Oilers to the Kings when everybody thought he was the untouchable one. So I guarantee it, he was in his ear telling him, "Go make your money while you can. Go make my daughter happy." So, and I think we'll have a tidal wave effect here. It's only 48 player events, so, much smaller field, but I know Rory McIlroy and Justin Thomas and a bunch of those, the bigger names have been very against it. But, whenever the PGA is going to become watered down at some point, it's going to be very interesting to see how it works. Because I think what people miss is the four majors. That's what everybody tunes into in America.
Mm-hmm.
Those aren't PGA events. You have the PGA Championship, but the other ones, they're just majors. Anybody can play them. You have to be invited or have an exemption or something like that. And so that's exactly what Dustin Johnson. So you're saying I can play 10 events, make 125 million, and just chill like 9 out of the 12 months out of the year. So I think it's going to be huge. The next game that clearly is going to come is Phil Mickelson.
Yep.
I'm actually surprised it hasn't came out yet, but I would assume it's going to come out shortly.
Yeah, that's for sure. I'm reading an article right now from Golf Digest, which is, the credible source for golf news. Back in February, it says that DJ released a pro PGA Tour statement. But here recently, honestly, his agent come out and said, he's been contemplating this for the last 2 years. He decided that it was in his best interest and his family's best interest to pursue it. He said he's never had an issue with the PGA Tour and is grateful for all that it's given him. But in the end, he felt the opportunity was too compelling to pass up. So, translation, I'm going to go get paid.
I got that bag, Mom.
I'm going to go get paid.
Yep.
That's what he said. And quite honestly, I don't know if there's more events being planned, but the first event is scheduled for this upcoming Thursday, which is it's being held in London. Some of the notable names: Sergio Garcia. Recently, he was in the news about. I think a couple weeks ago, he was arguing with a rules official about something, and a microphone picked him up saying, "I can't wait to leave this tour, so I don't have to deal with you guys anymore." Super upset. Richard Bland. Richard Bland is primarily a European Golf Tour player. Has played in a couple majors. Did lead a major in the last year for like 3 days until he lost toward the end. He's an older player. Some other notable names would be Ian Poulter, Martin Keimer, Lee Westwood, who was in the running with Bryson DeChambeau a couple years ago in a major championship. Kevin Na just recently signed, and then Graham McDowell. Both those players toward the back end of their careers, so they're going to go try something new. It's mainly over there in some areas in which they're from, in Europe. So there's no surprises there. So a couple of people also, Asian Tour players. You got some more highly touted European Tour players who are still toward the end of their career, but, they're not really notable to people here in America, honestly. Who else we got?
Chase Capga.
Chase Capga is another one. Sort of hasn't done anything in the PGA Tour. Probably, honestly, with a guy like that, he's a guy that's on the verge of losing his card altogether. So it's not really surprising to see kids like that, or I shouldn't say kids, but guys like that make a transition to something different, just to see if they get a fresh start, and then just see what happens. He's one of the bigger. He's got a big name, but he's not a big player.
Yeah, I look at that as big bro being like, "Hey, go check it out."
Yeah,
tell me what it's about.
Hook a brother up. So some other international names. Oh, go ahead, Coop.
I think there's a lot to unpack here. I know we were going through names, but back on like what it kind of means. One, I don't think PGA can say no. It can't be a pick either or. NASCAR has a great blueprint for this. They have guys that race in the Truck Series on Fridays. They go to a dirt track race on Saturday, and they're in a NASCAR car on Sunday.
Yep.
And it works. If PGA Tour is not giving them a salary, I don't see how they can dictate where they play and when they play.
Yep.
If they're entering in individual events that are either merit or invitation based, and they're meeting those requirements, I think it's a mistake on the PGA's part to deny them.
Yeah.
Secondly,
I'm sorry. I think it'd be in their best interest to work with them, and don't let 100%. It be a split thing. Like, have your guys go back and forth. Maybe they do stuff better than you do. Maybe they can learn things. Maybe the LIV can learn things from the PGA Tour. It could be sort of like a side tour. You could have specialty matches and things like that. So there's a lot of opportunity there.
Secondly, I think the next 2 years are going to be critical to seeing what this means for major sports. And what I'm getting at there is money is what got the 13th ranked player in the world to commit to another league. And it's not saying he's done in the PGA. They haven't made a ruling, whatever that may be. If they do and it doesn't go in their favor, there's a flood, right? If a court says you can play in both, PGA is in trouble. But if it works and some league like the USFL can get enough money to bring over a Russell Wilson, that guy who was elite, is he still elite? We don't know. Can you imagine the publicity and the viewership that the USFL would have this year with Russell Wilson playing quarterback?
You already see that in the fan-controlled football. Like, if you have anything whatsoever, you see Terrell Owens and Johnny Manziel and all those guys playing whatever the crap that shit is, and people will love it.
Yeah, but I mean, Owens is 50 and Manziel got cut from the league. If you can get a current star,
that's what I'm saying. Like even those guys, they're the name. I mean, people are watching it because of them.
Yeah. I mean, it's really interesting to me. I think there's a ton with this. Definitely going to watch it and see. The reaction to me is more exciting than what the actual play on the course is going to be.
Yeah,
that's for sure.
I think the guaranteed money, that's the game changer, because nobody works for the PGA Tour. You earn the tour card. You're given the ability to play. Like, I'm pretty sure you still have to pay like fees and stuff to get into tournaments. So it's not like
some people do.
Yeah, I mean, you get the exemptions and stuff.
Yeah, sponsors people,
right?
But if you're low on the totem pole, you're footing a lot of the bill,
right? But the PGA Tour wasn't paying Dustin Johnson to show up every weekend. They would pay him if he won, but they weren't paying him to show up. And I think that's the most important thing here. Where maybe are we going to start seeing like do you guys watch the Tour de France? I mean, we get. Or
not.
F1, are we going to start getting golf teams where owners own or put people under contract, and then you start seeing these golf teams form, so guys are getting salaries and guaranteed cash. I think this could spin off in so many different ways, and I think it's for the best.
Yeah,
competition breeds competition.
You're exactly right, and that's what's really good for just the sport in general, because everybody's like, oh, I want to make it to the tour, I'm going to be a PGA Tour golfer, but now there's other options. Although it's overseas, I don't know if the LIV has any plans to have tour events here in the United States, but even then, like,
If they land an event at Augusta, it's over.
That'll never
Right.
happen. That'll never happen.
Why? If they're paying more money, why not
it
let
don't matter.
the same people play on the course under a different name?
It won't happen. There's a reason why other major
Sports
championships
is more money than ever.
but Augusta is different.
Yeah, I'd say Augusta's probably the untouchable one, but I don't
It
think
is
they
untouchable.
have,
And
they don't
no, but
have
here's
tournaments other than the Masters, right?
no. That is the only major that stays at the same spot. Every other major they rotate, like Torrey Pines, Bethpage Black, all that, all those, like even the Open overseas in England, they play the old course. They play St. Andrews, which I think is the same thing, but they play at different courses for the majors. The Masters is played at one spot and one spot only. It doesn't move. That's why it's the big one. It's the special one. It's the one that everybody wants. Nobody's touching that one. Nobody. You might get the other courses. You ain't touching Augusta.
Yeah, I think Augusta's like the most prestigious golf course in America. But I do agree with Coop. If they get an American big course name, Bethpage Black or any of those U.S. Open,
Torrey Pines,
like
Marion,
yeah, you're going to see
any one of Jack Nicklaus's courses,
right?
Like those. That's a big deal.
The Waste Management.
Oh yeah,
Up there in
Scottsdale.
Detroit. No, I thought it was in Detroit.
No, Waste Management.
It's in
Phoenix
Phoenix.
Open.
Yeah.
I said Scottsdale. It's a big golf town out there.
Yeah.
I don't know why I said Scottsdale.
Yeah.
It's Phoenix. It's in Phoenix. But like when you're talking about the teams and stuff, you kind of have that a little bit with the club manufacturers. Like you have Team TaylorMade, you have Team Titleist. TaylorMade does a really good job, and I'm a TaylorMade fan. They do a really good job of highlighting their players like as a group all the time, like through YouTube and things like that. Callaway does a pretty good job too. But like Titleist is just the logo, and it's some of the best golf equipment you can buy. But like if you were going to have like teams, then you're going to run into like sponsorship conflicts, and in golf, that's how they make their money. It's sponsors. That's why you have guys with polos with 37 different logos on them.
Right. But that's what I'm saying is if they make a team, then they don't have to rely on those sponsors.
That's true.
So, I don't know. I mean, it may not happen.
It's going to turn into a bidding war, and there's going to be a lot of money thrown around, I have a feeling.
And I mean, you're not talking about, it's not going to be a Hardee's team out there wearing the golden star. You're talking about like Bezos, who's talking about getting into ownership in professional sports. And he's got an Apple logo on the polo shirts, and that's it. But that team's funded by Apple. Even though it's not a golf brand, I think you could definitely see that with the people that are integrating into sports now, with the money getting not more concentrated, but with how expensive sports is getting to operate.
Yeah.
And I also think on that same page, it'd be really cool to have golfing events, professional golfing events, other than the Ryder Cup or the President's Cup, in like a team setting, like doing team events, like match play, alternate shot, scrambles, things like that. But with like this team versus this team, not like country versus country, but like kind of like what colleges do in college golf. Like they have a team event, they have individual events, all that good stuff. That would make it really cool to go watch or watch it on television. And that's something that I think if the LIV did well, not saying they have a plan to, but if they did well, that would help them out a lot. Because the Ryder Cup is one of the best things that golf has going for them.
Yeah.
But also, let's say some of these players that are going over there, they're Ryder Cup players. Do they still play in the Ryder Cup if they're not part of the PGA Tour?
Oh yeah, no, that's for your country.
But it's still PGA Tour based.
Is it?
I'm pretty sure.
Google.
Look it up, Dave.
To me, I could be wrong. So if we're considering the PGA as a professional sports league, right?
Yes.
You compare it against the NHL, the NBA. Like Dave said, those all have teams. Even NASCAR, they have teams. You're signed to contracts.
Mm-hmm.
You can't race a different car every week. So I don't know if it's the right term, but PGA is a club, right? You have a membership. You pay for a membership. They don't They don't pay you, like they've said, unless you win. You don't have to go to all their events.
No, you're right.
If you're a player for a sports team, you're on the injury report or you're playing. Otherwise, you're not on that team.
And you look at guys like Tiger, who obviously still has a PGA Tour card, but he's going to play majors, and that's about it.
Yeah. So I'm calling the PGA a club. It's not a league. It's not a professional sports league. It's a club.
I would agree with that.
All right. So Frank is right. But I guarantee it changes. So reading the Ryder Cup.
First time in 13 episodes.
It says all U.S. players will have the opportunity to earn points beginning in 2022 and concluding immediately after the second FedEx Cup playoff event, BMW Championship on August 20th of 23. The top 6 players on the points list secure spots on the U.S. team. So mark this date, June 5th, 2022. Does the Ryder Cup change their criteria for how they
would have
pick their top players?
Because if you don't play in PGA-sponsored events, you don't rack up FedEx Cup points. Like Scotty Scheffler, he's leading by I think 1,200 points right now. He's
what makes you qualify for a country? Is it like Olympics? Do you have to be nationally born? If not, and the Saudis are funding all this, I'm just saying Saudi Arabia could have a hell.
The thing about the Ryder Cup,
Cup team,
it's USA versus
England.
That's it, just straight up one-on-one.
It's not just England. It's Europe in general.
Yeah, Europe.
So you guys, you got a bunch of countries over there. You have Ireland, like Rory from Northern Ireland, bunch of British guys. You got Sergio from Spain.
That's pretty.
They're everywhere over there.
Stuck up of us.
Oh,
to think we can compete with all of Europe.
Yeah.
Hey, but we won. We won last year. Shout out.
The captain gets 6 picks as well, though.
Yeah, Zach Johnson is the captain this year.
Yeah,
Shout out Zach Johnson.
I saw Johnson being the captain. I was like, oh shit, is DJ the captain?
Wouldn't that be some stuff? That'd be awesome. Yeah. But yeah, things are getting interesting in the world of golf, and I love golf. It's one of my favorite sports to watch and obviously play. But moving forward, it's going to be kind of funny, or not funny, but it's going to be kind of fun to watch it all unfold and see the social media reactions. I'm sure next week will be pretty interesting. So I'm going to look forward to it. Yeah. And we'll have an update. We will have an update because, next Sunday, that event will be over. We'll see who takes the crown. Is it somebody that's got a big name, or is it one of these young nobodies that, still wants to have part of it? But really quickly, I don't think do we cover Louis Oosthuizen, big name, Charles Schwartzel, big name, Brandon Grace, big name. And then we have also Taylor Gooch and Hudson Swafford. Those are not big names yet, but they're in their prime currently in the PGA Tour. Taylor Gooch is a very talented golfer. Just some other names to look forward to maybe watch next week. We're going to move on to some college baseball regionals. Coop, what was that stat you sent us earlier about the Tar Heels?
They scored 4 runs in the first 7 pitches in the bottom of the first inning today. So just a little background. I've not followed all of college baseball. It's been hard. There's 18 games going on at once.
Yeah, I honestly
have watched the Tar Heels. There was some controversy in their last game. 4-3 loss to VCU. Put them in elimination today, again against VCU, to win that region.
Was that the regional championship?
Calls. They have to beat VCU twice. So I have to play again tomorrow. They won.
Most regionals are nearing their final game. So they're getting ready to wrap up.
3 questionable calls in that game. 2, I think, were the right calls against Carolina. The third one was very badly missed. Runners on first and second, 1 out, infield fly, guy drops it, turns a double. That's a huge play. They don't call infield fly. 2 outs, inning over. So manager, obviously upset, gets thrown out of the game. I think he got thrown out on a later call because, again, it was questionable and they had not been having a great display on their officiating. Suspended for 2 games. So without their coach today, they came out bat's hot. I think they hit 4 home runs in the first 4 innings. But that's just my Tar Heels. So I'll let you guys take over the other ones. I've never seen an infield fly not called in a game that mattered that much. Maybe they lose anyway. 4-3 game.
So, yeah, infield fly rule, I'm not sure if that is a judgment call. So was the ball actually caught?
It was not. It was dropped.
Was it on the infield, or was it like shallow outfield?
No, it was like right behind the pitcher's mound. It was in the grass.
Runner at first and second.
Yes.
1 out.
Yep.
Was it
third to second for the forced out, and then to third for the tag?
Was it a pop-up, or was it like a blooper?
I mean, it was a pop-up. The guy slid to catch it, didn't catch it. But, I mean, it was clearly dropped behind the pitcher. I mean, it was high enough the pitcher could not make a play on it. Second baseman comes up, drops it, inning over.
See, I think that might be the judgment call. If it wasn't like popped up where somebody could camp underneath it, where it's assumed that there would be an out, that's where you run into a judgment by the umpire. Now, if it was just hit off the handle, sawed off inside pitch or something like that, and it just kind of like a ducktail just over the pitcher's mound head, where no play can be made, like the out isn't assumed. That's what infield fly means. So the out is assumed, and runners can go at their own discretion.
Yeah,
it's just
I have to see it.
Terrible position to be in.
I haven't seen
because, I mean, the rule's in place to protect those runners, right?
Yeah, but infield fly you can advance at your own discretion after if the play's made. So,
yeah, I would say that the umpire said that since the pitcher didn't go after it, then it wasn't an assumed out, and it really sucks. But sounds like North Carolina didn't really affect them too bad.
Well, they got to play again tomorrow. VCU elimination. They both lost 1 now, but yeah, they're looking good. Had the bats going today.
So I've got a list of regionals here.
Yep.
Tennessee and Georgia Tech, they're playing right now, I believe.
Yeah, Georgia Tech was winning.
For the winner of their region. Notre Dame and Texas Tech are playing right now for the winner of that region. Texas and Air Force started playing at 8 o'clock for the winner of their region. East Carolina, Coastal Carolina. We also have Texas A&M and TCU. Texas A&M, very dangerous team. Very, very dangerous team.
Is Texas A&M up 1-0?
I don't know. I don't know the scores. They beat Oral Roberts 8-2. No, they have not lost yet. TCU was beat by Louisiana, and then beat Louisiana in their elimination game.
Since we're on that game, TCU's up 3-0 at the end of 4.
Okay. The Louisville Regional, Louisville beat the dog shit out of Michigan today, 20-1. That was an elimination game because Michigan beat Louisville earlier 7-3. So now we have Michigan versus Louisville for a third time elimination game at 6 p.m. So I think Michigan. Wait, Louisville. Yeah, this is for the region championship. Both teams have 1 loss, I think.
Yeah, they're both one-loss teams.
Gainesville Regional, Oklahoma, Florida, playing right now. We have
Florida's up 7-2, top 9.
So looking like it's going to be Florida advancing to a super regional unless something crazy happens, which has happened before.
Oklahoma has no losses.
Never mind. It's not an elimination game.
Since we're going through this and struggling, I want to call out that this is by far the most complicated bracket in the world. It's ridiculous trying to read through this and see where everybody's at.
You can't do anything until you get to a super regional. So what happens in college baseball, for people that don't know, is the NCAA tournament field is picked, and there's different host sites. So you have regional sites. Generally, those are your top. How many regions are there, Dave? 16?
16.
16
regions. Generally, your top 16 seeds host a regional. And then there's a pot of 4 that goes to each regional. They play a double elimination tournament there. It's sort of like a little I would like we would have a district tournament for baseball here in Kentucky. It's a double elimination district tournament style. One person advance as a regional champion out of their regional, and they play in a super regional where you have 8 regional tournaments. I believe it's 8. Yeah. 8. I don't know. Is it 8 or is it 4?
Only 16 teams advance. You have 16 teams. How many
So
are
it would
in
be-
each
Eight,
it would
there's
be-
8 supers. 8 super
One-on-one.
regionals, and then 8 go to World Series.
But the super regional still does it have 4 or does it have 2 teams?
2. It's 2 best of
2.
3 series.
Okay. So
See,
I was
boys.
in my head, I was thinking it had 4 in the super regional. Okay. So
This guy just coached a regional championship for baseball, and
It's a-
we don't even know the structure.
we're
for the
using the
next
term
level.
regional differently than what college baseball does. So, appreciate the humble brag, Coop. But
No problem.
we have 8 super regional hosts, which will produce 8 College World Series teams. Is that right?
Yep.
All right. So after that, just real quick, running down these lists: Blacksburg, Virginia Tech, and Columbia. Shout out Columbia. Stanford, Texas State, and Stanford. College Park Regional, we have UConn and Maryland. Chapel Hill, VCU, North Carolina. Stillwater Regional, Arkansas, Oklahoma State. That's tough. That's tough. Oklahoma State beat Missouri State 29-15, fellas.
Hey, that's a heck of a game right now. 6-5, bottom 7.
Arkansas, Oklahoma State.
Yep, Oklahoma State's
That-
up.
2 tough teams. Arkansas is pretty stout. Won a national championship pretty recently. Coral Gables Regional, Arizona and Miami, Florida. Hattiesburg, we have LSU and Southern Miss. Auburn Regional, Auburn versus UCLA. And then Corvallis, we have Oregon State and Vanderbilt. That'll be a tough game too. I think they just started about an hour ago. So it's looking like, some pretty high-powered teams. Your run-of-the-mill, consistent visitors to Omaha are still in the mix here. If I had to pick, I don't know if Tennessee can make it through their regional here. They're my pick to win the national championship. It's either them or Oregon State is pretty good. Those are my picks.
On Tennessee, do you have that regional up? Tennessee hadn't lost yet, correct?
No, they have not.
Right.
Okay. They're down in the bottom of the 8th right now.
Yeah, it's an elimination game for Georgia Tech.
Tennessee lost a game in the SEC tournament, but up until Kentucky beat them 2 out of 3 times in their series at Kentucky, at that point in time late in the year, they had lost like 5, maybe 6 games. Their loss count is a little higher now. I think it might be at 7 or 8. I don't know their exact record.
7.
But it ain't
55 and
much.
7.
55-7 in college baseball is killing it. Their pitching staff is enough to get them through to a national championship. When you got guys, not just Ben Joyce throwing 105, he sits at 103 with a wipeout slider that's like 92. Well, you also have guys coming out of their bullpen throwing like 99 to 100 that nobody talks about. They have like 3 or 4 of those guys, and they have hit more home runs than anybody in the country. Unless something happens that they cannot perform, I don't see anybody beating them twice in a best of series. I don't see it. So Tennessee is my number 1 pick. I'm going to go with Oregon State as my backup if they make it through their regionals. I've watched a little bit of I've not watched a lot of college baseball, but I do know SEC baseball. I know Arkansas has a shot. I think Ole Miss just won recently. I watched the end of that game. Vanderbilt is always Vanderbilt. They've not been Vanderbilt this year, but they're always Vanderbilt. Tennessee, best team in the country all year long. Florida, also very talented. So any team, I think the national championship comes from the SEC this year. If it's not Tennessee, it'll be in one of those other schools, or you're going to see like an Oregon State or somebody come out of nowhere. That's what's going to happen.
Yeah, I've got the University of National Champions winning.
Oh, it must
UNC.
Be nice. Yeah. There's no.
They just won the ACC tournament. Last week, the University of North Carolina won a national title for women's lacrosse with a undefeated season, and they also won both men and women's ultimate frisbee. So I'm just saying, boys, we're hanging banners left and right.
Where are you hanging them at?
We don't have enough room. They're going to have to build a separate building. You're going to put them
on the light poles on campus?
The University of North Carolina literally just put up a post last week saying we need a new trophy room. Like, we're out of room. I don't know what we're going to do.
Good problem to have, man. Jealous.
Yeah. No, but I agree with you, really. It's Tennessee's to lose. I mean, they've been the best team all year. They're absolutely dominant.
But the thing about baseball is that's never a good position to be in. You don't want to be that guy. You don't want to be the team that everybody's looking at and say, hey, they should win. Because it almost never happens that way in a high-level setting. Now, high school baseball is a different story. But, big-time college baseball with big-time college athletes, the favorite, if they do win, it won't be flawlessly. There's going to be some hiccups. In these series, I like that they play series and not single elimination games. I kind of wish high school would come to that in terms of some sort of postseason series, or maybe a double elimination type tournament. That would be pretty cool. But college baseball is a different animal, man. It's actually one of the more exciting sports to watch. If you want to watch an exciting sport, though, college softball is exhilarating. Just shouting that out.
Yeah.
The Women's College World Series is one of my favorite sporting events to watch. Because those girls get after it. All right, fellas. We are going to do some quick conference finals updates for hockey, and then we have an NBA Finals game going on as we are recording this podcast. Anybody got a quick update on the score?
NBA Warriors are up 79-64 in the third. So
okay.
I wouldn't say that one's over because if anybody watched game one, the Warriors knew how to blow it.
Yeah, never over. Yeah. So, Dave, you want to give us an update on the conference finals for the NHL?
Yep. So, the greatest saying I've ever heard is a series doesn't start until the road team wins. And we have not had that yet in the Rangers Lightning series. Tampa Bay pulled out a late goal in the third today to win their first game of the series. So Rangers lead 2-1. And I think the Avalanche have just destroyed the Edmonton Oilers. I think game one was, they ran out of steam. Or after that, 14 goals combined between the two games. And now that series is 3-0, and Avalanche are looking to close it out on the road tomorrow. And I don't like Edmonton's chances. The Avalanche are just a wagon right now. So, but we'll see what happens. It ain't over till the fat lady sings.
Yeah, that one's over. It's over. Nobody. You might catch a game, but you ain't winning. Go ahead, Coop. Sorry.
Yeah. I saw a stat on that. The Avalanche lead the playoffs in their power play percentage, like 30% of remaining teams. Edmonton leads the playoffs in penalty minutes. So they're more likely than anybody to give them those opportunities. And I haven't watched it closely enough to know if that's been the difference. It sounds like Colorado's just doing whatever they want. I mean, putting up 14 goals in 2 games. But that's not a good recipe going into a matchup with a team that is that good.
But yeah, Colorado was my pick after the first 2 series. Watching those, just complete domination in terms of literally doing like they just beat the crap out of people. I mean, I thought Edmonton
they literally took out our goalie.
So
let's throw an asterisk on that series.
I honestly say that I thought Edmonton would put up a little bit of a fight based on, they got Connor McDavid, and I watched a lot of the Calgary series that they played, and there was a lot of goals being scored. It's just Colorado's just shut them down, man. It's crazy. But there's your NHL update. We have our NBA Finals update. We're going to close out the show with a discussion, and we have not discussed this yet. This is going to be off the rip. It might get ugly, but we had the match with Josh Allen, Patrick Mahomes versus Aaron Rodgers and the greatest of all time, Tom Brady. Tom Brady and Aaron Rodgers pulled out the win. Some of the greatest television moments I loved it. What the greatest thing about it is, honestly, the golf is good. The trash talk is good. Tom dropped an F-bomb walking up to the first tee, and it got caught on camera. He was late getting to the first tee. But the greatest thing is having, first of all, Trevor Immelman on the mic, giving the golf perspective. You have Charles Barkley. Why he's there, no idea. He's just a veteran of the match. And he's a Capital One guy. He's in the commercials. So you also had JJ Watt, the football guy. These guys know JJ very well. But the commentary mixed with the golf, mixed with these guys are regular guys that play golf. They're not professional golfers. Seeing that they do the things that I do on a golf course is hilarious. Just the ins and outs. And actually, I mean, there's some good golf being played. Those guys they're pretty good. But it's one of the coolest things to see. And I love the matches. But this one was special. I think they need to do it more often with other people other than just like professional athletes. Like, it would be super cool to have like Justin Timberlake and I don't know.
Oh no.
Jake Owen. Jake Owen's a good golfer versus like Colt Ford and Hardy. Like those guys are really good golfers. All four of them are. So it'd be cool to have that kind of perspective on the match. But having professional athletes and things like that on there is what's going to drive viewers. And I don't know the viewership numbers, but I bet they were pretty high.
Yeah, I loved everything about it. And, there's so many things. I could talk about this for an hour. But my favorite part was you could literally see those guys flip on their competitiveness.
Mm-hmm.
There's a point in that match where Charles just had to talk. He had to talk to fill the time because they were all locked in. They were getting serious. It was really Rodgers versus Mahomes. That's what it came down to, right? I mean, Brady was there. He had a good time. Allen is not ready to be a superstar. He just didn't. His presence was not there with the rest of them. He's not ready for it.
He's an absolute unit. He's a big dude, though.
He is a big dude. It was great seeing the jabs. I mean, there were some one-liners that were absolutely amazing.
When
Tom
Brady
showing Josh Allen the Lombardi ball.
He goes, "You see one of these?"
Yeah.
That's awesome.
Yeah.
Josh Allen had a ball with Tom Brady's combine picture on it.
And 30 minutes later, Brady had won with the Lombardi Trophy. And you know that he was texting a golf ball manufacturer and he had that like dropped air package, drone delivery to the course so he could pull that out. Because I don't think he came with it in the bag. But there were so many things. It was absolutely amazing television. And then the interview at the end with Ernie from TNT, I felt like I was watching. And I said this to you guys. It was like watching the founding fathers talk about how they wrote the Constitution. When they talk about like how they played the game of football, how they prepared, giving advice to one another. Like it was amazing just to hear that insight and stuff. Like, yeah, I could watch that all day long. It's the best thing they've ever put on television. Needs to happen again.
Yeah, I think doing that every year is something that they definitely should keep doing every year.
I think so they need to do it more often. I mean, you got so many personalities that would probably love to do that and, make golf more exciting. Don't just have the bland old play your own ball tournaments every weekend. Let's mix it up. Get some viewership. Yeah. Let's get some more people out there playing golf.
Yeah, for sure.
Get Pat Mahomes slamming Coors Light on camera.
Oh, yeah. It's because did he call it birdie juice or something?
Yeah.
That's awesome. But that kind of brings us to our topic. Those four could be some of the top 4 quarterbacks in the league right now, honestly. But that brings us to our we're going to have a discussion, and we're going to have a generic, or I should say general consensus of the 3 of us. And we are going to fight it out and agree on a top 5 ranking for the current NFL quarterbacks. So this is the TRIF3CTA Sports Podcast, top 5 quarterbacks in the NFL. So we're going to throw out some names. We'll start with the 4 in the match. Now, accolades aside, that we have up-and-comers. We have guys that have been there. We have guys in the middle ground. We have guys that have no chance of even sniffing this list. So, of the 4 that are in the golf match, how many of those would you say would be in a top 5 ranking right now?
I've got 3 of them.
I've got all 4. I can't. All right, yeah, I've got all 4.
So we have the 4 that were in the match. Coop says all 4 belong. Dave has 3. Dave, who do you have out?
I have the former MVP out of my top 5.
Aaron Rodgers.
Yep, he's not in it.
Okay. Okay, let me ask you this. If he's not in it, that means you have 2 that are needing to be pushed in. So, first of all, me and Coop talked about a couple of them. Who is one person that you would put in?
The guy that just got his team that nobody expected to the Super Bowl in his second year after blowing out his ACL. Give me Joey B.
Okay.
I think Joe Burrow is legit. He got his team to the Super Bowl. If I'm taking my top 5 right now, I take Joe Burrow over Aaron Rodgers.
As a Bengals fan, David, I love that pick, but I'm going to need to see something else for one more year in order for him to go in my current top 5. That's my thing.
Right.
That's my bias
But
kicking in too.
We're saying current as in going into the 2022-23 season.
Correct.
Yeah, so I stand by my pick.
Aaron Rodgers is the only number 1 that you can put on any list. Not only is he top 5, he is number 1 without question.
Oh, I think it's very questionable.
No.
We're never going to agree on 5.
Do you know how many starting quarterbacks last year had less than 10 interceptions?
Probably 1.
That started.
I would say 1.
So there's actually 4, but the other ones
surprising.
are Jalen Hurts, Teddy Bridgewater, and Jared Goff. The 4th one is Aaron Rodgers. 37 touchdowns, 4 interceptions. That is a 9-to-1 ratio. Burrow's ratio is less than 3-to-1. You can't. His ability to give you a chance. He doesn't give the ball away. It's got to be Rodgers number 1. So you're not in your top 5. Number 1.
Here's where we are in this situation right now. Dave has Aaron Rodgers out of the top 4 or top 5, and Coop has him as number 1. Do you see the problem we're getting ready to run into?
I'm just saying the guy is not a winner.
He just sunk the winning putt in the match. He literally won it. All on him. Everybody else is done. Everybody else is sold out. Rodgers wins it.
How many Super Bowl runs has he choked, though?
How many has Burrow won? At least Rodgers has a ring. 4 MVP trophies. 4.
Here's the thing about when you start talking about championships and current players, winning a single championship is extremely difficult. There are so many. You're talking about some of the greatest quarterbacks of all time who've never won. Dan Marino.
Exactly.
Never won a championship. So if you're bagging on Rodgers for only winning 1, That's not a good argument.
No, I'm not bagging on him. I'm just saying we're saying the top 5 quarterbacks to pick them right now. And when I take that in my mind, I'm saying, who do I trust to go win me a Super Bowl next year? And Aaron Rodgers can't do it.
What are you?
So why was
has
him on
done
top 5? Yeah, like 10 years ago, with a stacked offense and a stacked defense, he runs through the NFC North like he has 6 free games against the Vikings, the Bears, and the Lions, and
that's not his fault.
You can't make a. No, it's not his fault. But I'm just saying, if he were to play in a tougher division, I bet he throws more picks than that. I mean, we watched him do it against Tampa Bay, where he threw like 3. He probably threw all of his interceptions in the one game where he played a real defense.
All right, Burrow played last season against Ben Roethlisberger with a walker. The Baltimore Ravens, who don't even field a wide receiver, they just play 5 running backs at a time. And the prison Browns, right? I mean, they got a guy on the roster.
He made it out alive. He made it out alive. He played against the Defensive Player of the Year twice.
I'm going to be the swing vote here. And here's the thing. And here's my argument. If we're having the same conversation a year from now, if next year Joe Burrow comes out, gets his team just a playoff appearance, maybe win a game here, maybe make it to a championship game, not a Super Bowl, just a championship game, I would put him in the top 5. But to say Aaron Rodgers is not a top 5 quarterback right now, and you're putting Joey Burrow in there. Now, if you would have said somebody else, I would have agreed with you. But Aaron Rodgers is in the top 5.
Agree to disagree.
So that's number 1. Aaron is going to be the number 1. All right, Dave.
No, he can't go number 1.
We're not ranking number.
We got to drop him.
We're not ranking. Okay. We're not ranking. He's the first one to be solidified. And I think we can all be in agreement that Patrick Mahomes is another one.
I do have Patrick Mahomes in mind.
And then can't be a quarterback talk about the greatest of anything without Tom Brady.
Agreed.
He's going to be up there until he leaves. So we have Aaron Rodgers, Patrick Mahomes, Tom Brady. And you guys think Josh Allen is there as well?
I got him in there. 5.5. He's 5.5 for me. Yeah.
Okay, so we'll leave his name there. So that's 4. Who's number 5, fellas?
Justin Herbert's number 4.
Let's throw some names.
Justin Herbert.
Well, I mean, number 4. Are you actually ranking them? Or
in my opinion, 4. He's above Allen. But yeah, I got Herbert is my last one.
I would agree with that. So Coop has Herbert. Dave?
I have Herbert as well.
Okay. Well, I think talent-wise, Herbert is better than Joe Burrow.
Agreed.
Just talent. Like physical, throwing the football. Now, that doesn't necessarily make him the better football player. We all know that.
I think he's a better football player, too.
Small sample size. Time will tell. Like I said,
we just put Joe Burrow over Aaron Rodgers with the exact same length of sample size. Less games of sample size.
I didn't. But those are 2 quarterbacks who came in together. They haven't played the exact same amount of games because, we all know what happened. But the fact that one guy got his team to a Super Bowl, the other one didn't, with arguably a better team overall, defensively. Offensively, I don't know. I think Keenan Allen and Mike Williams, Austin Eckler are pretty comparable to Young and Mixon. And Boyd was kind of a non-factor, but you had T. Higgins there too. I don't know if they have a third receiver over there in LA that would match Tyler Boyd. They might. No. I don't think so. Defense, credit to LA. They got the better defense.
Not run defense. Their pass defense is great. Derwin James, Bosa on the pass rush. I'll give you that. But their run defense was like worse than the NFL last year. They couldn't stop anybody up the
That's
middle.
true too. But the average fan couldn't name
A defensive player for the
would
Bengals.
Be hard. They could name a couple. Trey Hendrickson. They could name a couple. Okay, he's at the top of the list of defensive players they have. I don't think they could name 3, honestly, as the average fan of another team. So there's that. I would be okay with putting Justin Herbert in a top 5 right now.
Yep.
Simply because the sample size is smaller and his physical attributes are currently, I would say his measurables are currently, they pop off the page better than Joe Burrow's. But I don't think Justin Herbert is the better football player. He might be the better quarterback. I don't think he's a better football player because there's a lot of things that go into being a football player apart from physical ability. Team leadership, being the guy that everybody can trust and go to, being the face of the franchise. Joe Burrow's the face. Is Justin Herbert the face of LA?
I don't think you can get more California than that hair, but that's just me.
I agree with that. But there are a lot of other guys over there that you could make an argument for. So there's that. I think Jamar Chase is on his way to being another face of our team. But I would be okay with putting Herbert on our top 5 now. But next year, I think you could probably have 2 people move into the top 5. One being Burrow. And then there might be somebody else that comes off the page. You never know. It is Matt Stafford. But still, he just won a Super Bowl. So right now, he's pretty damn good.
It doesn't mean anything if they win a Super Bowl. It doesn't mean that they can do it again. We've already had that discussion.
All right, Aaron Rodgers.
Winning a Super Bowl means nothing. I know. That's what Dave said. I'm backing him up on his
I thought that was being an argument for not including Matt Stafford in the conversation. So, top 5 right now, general consensus, in no particular order. Justin Herbert, Aaron Rodgers, Josh Allen, Patrick Mahomes, Tom Brady. That's a pretty good list. Another name you could throw out there who hasn't been able to do anything, we've talked a lot of shit about him on this show, Dak Prescott. Numbers wise, he's pretty good.
He's not even in the conversation.
But think about it. An offense last year is who runs the offense, Coop?
Do what?
Who runs the offense? Who runs the offense?
I feel like it's a trick question. Are you looking for the coordinator?
It's not. No, it's the freaking quarterback. Regular season.
Yeah.
Who had the best offensive numbers in almost every category? The Dallas Cowboys. Whether that be the quarterback has a lot to do with run offense as well.
Yeah.
It's not just handing the ball. It's not just hand the ball off to 2 running backs and go. It happens. Opening up, passing, all that stuff. It's all working together. Dak Prescott is a freaking good quarterback. I talk shit about him because I don't like him, but he can't get it done in the playoffs. And I think that's part of what we're kind of battling here. He can't even get him to the playoffs. But statistically, over time, every year, when he's healthy, he's very, very good.
Yeah.
We'll see. Top 5 right now, we listed him. That name, that we'll come back next year and do the same thing. We might do a mid-season top 5 right now because it could change as well. What I can't wait is when in the future here in the next couple of months, we get into that fantasy football talk, doing our ranking our fantasy teams. I know that. But it depends on what criteria you're talking about when we say top 5 right now. Top 5 right now, we're talking wins, numbers, potential, and stability, credibility. Those are the types of things we're talking about. Justin Herbert.
Stability. So you want to bring back Aaron Rodgers and how stable he is. The guy who we don't know he might show up or not.
He'll be there.
Burrow's played 1 out of 2 seasons. He's walking around in the Don Joy, all right?
But the guy's a winner. So he has won at every level now.
You're not wrong.
To get back onto the other quarterbacks, I think there's only two other guys you could even have close to this conversation, and they're different style of quarterback in Kyler Murray and Lamar Jackson.
I was thinking
Lamar. I don't think they're there. I think they really have to get better passing the ball. And I know Kyler can sling it, but I don't know. He just doesn't. He doesn't have the same presence the rest of them do.
That's a good way to put it, because I don't think you could make an argument Kyler's top 10. Lamar is definitely top 10. But if you're picking between the two, it's Lamar Jackson all day.
You know whose name didn't come up, and you guys told me was better than Dak, is Russell Wilson, because he's not a top 10 quarterback.
Well, not right
and
now.
You just confirmed it.
But
you have
here's
Matt
the thing: if he comes out with a new team and does well, and maybe gets some, 10 wins, 11 wins, 12 wins, that solidifies his talent. Now, like I just said, a presence, a stability, the overall being a leader in the face of the franchise. If he comes into Denver and does that, that's a significant push for a guy like Russell Wilson to push his way up in front of some of these younger guys. And these younger guys have a whole career ahead of them too. And we're talking about Russell Wilson, who is past his prime, heavily past his prime. And I think, honestly, you could say the same for Aaron Rodgers, past his prime.
Oh, yeah.
Although he is still competing and putting up great numbers. I don't think Tom Brady's ever going to be past his prime until he retires. That's just my opinion.
Yeah.
I think his prime happened at the end of his career. That's why he's not retiring.
And I think what's going to be funny, because we talked about Dak and how they had the greatest offense in the regular season last year, and then they went out and lost to the 49ers in the first round, 23-17. And you go and take a Russell Wilson, who was facing, the J.J. Watt Cardinals defense, the Los Angeles Rams defense, best in the league, then the 49ers great defense. And now you're going to put Russell Wilson, who struggled against those defenses. Now you're going to put him in the AFC West, who just became, arguably the best defensive conference. So I don't think Russell Wilson's done himself any favors. If he was smart, he probably should have just stayed in Seattle because, if Aaron Donald doesn't come back, the Rams are not what the Rams were last year. And that directly correlates with my rankings, because I think, Aaron Rodgers, I left him out. He has an easier division. He has less games against more games against easier opponents. Where, like the Russell Wilson, he has more games against tougher opponents, and that's going to affect his numbers and his stats and what he's able to do. Even with Tom Brady, that AFC or NFC South, that's a pretty weak conference right now, or division right now. And, he is putting up ungodly stats, but he also has how many, 2 wide receivers and 2 tight ends to throw to now.
I wouldn't say it was weak as opposed to evenly matched. I would say it's pretty level, a level playing field for that conference in general, or that division, because the Dolphins are going to beat some people. The Bills beat people. I wouldn't say it was weak. I would say it's evenly matched.
Brady's not in that division.
Right.
I'm thinking he plays for the freaking
Patriots.
The Dolphins?
Yeah.
Patriots, yeah.
And the Dolphins. But he's done
no,
so
I
much.
mean,
If
Winston is hurt, I know there's reports right now that Jameis Winston's been limping around at camp and all kinds of buzz around New Orleans. If he's hurt, that division's pretty cake.
Yeah. I'm an idiot. Don't listen to me.
I mean, New Orleans has a good defense, but you get 4 games against the Panthers and the Falcons.
Yeah.
I mean, that's a cakewalk for Tom Brady. And that's why you see Tom Brady and Aaron Rodgers putting up these gaudy stats, because they're facing lesser defenders. And, Aaron Rodgers' true test will be this year when he doesn't have,
Devontae Adams.
And that could be the whole Bill versus Tom. Was it Devontae or was it Aaron?
It's true.
Oh, come on now. Come on,
All right,
now.
guys. So we've that was easier than I thought it would be, honestly, after some of the conversation starters. But we might come back next week and do maybe a running back list or a wide receiver list. Wide receiver list would be very difficult. I don't think running back list would be that difficult. But if you're interested in listening to something like that, we would more than love. We might do a whole show arguing on a specific position lists. We might do a top offensive lineman. That'd be fun.
Yeah. 3 months from fantasy draft season. It's usually when they start right around the first week of September. So we might get into some highlights there as well.
Yeah, for sure.
Mm-hmm.
But we appreciate you guys tuning in. We're going to wrap the show up there. Again, like, subscribe, comment on our YouTube videos. If you're listening on Spotify, Apple, wherever you listen to podcasts, just click that download button. It helps us out, helps us get out and reach more listeners. Again, we're the TRIF3CTA Sports Podcast. If you liked what you hear, let us know. Comment on our Facebook page. Tell us how you like it and some topics that you might want to see us discuss. I'd like to do like a fan mail or a fan bag situation where the people input questions and we answer them on the show. So that might be something we start this week. So thank you guys
and
for
just
tuning
note
in.
to Jane, you can submit multiple questions. That's fine. We'll answer them all.
Yeah, we love you, J Days. All right, guys. Peace out. We love everybody just like always. Let's wrap it up there.